Hi folks, we're going to paint an oil painting today of Bluebell Woods, okay? This is one of my favourite scenes. So we've got an 18 by 24 inch canvas, it's perfectly dry. Alright, I've sketched on some little indications of where some trees are going to live, but it all could change, you know it could. I'm just going to dip my brush into a little bit of linseed oil, okay? Knock off any excess, and I'm going to pull out some of this white just there. The colours I'm using today, Winsor & Newton's paints, we've got titanium white, we've got ivory black, we've got burnt umber, burnt sienna, what else have we got? We've got phthalo blue, it's a funny word, we've got to say it properly, ultramarine, we've got a little bit of dioxine, purple, somebody tell me if that's right or not, cad red, light green, cad yellow and yellow ochre. So they're the colours that we're going to be working with today on this little tiny palette. Alright, so a little bit of this titanium white just there. I'm going to reach up here, sneak in a little bit of the yellow ochre and maybe just the tiniest touch of the bright red. And of course this has got a little bit of linseed oil. I want a little bit of a sunny glow somewhere around here. Okay, well, somewhere at the back. Okay, a lot of foliage at the top, a lot of bluebells and woodland stuff down at the bottom. Okay, so just a little bit of light just through the trees on there like that. Okay, so as I'm scrubbing this in, it'll be a perfect time for me to ask you guys if you would consider subscribing to the channel if you've not done so already. And if you like this video or this sort of stuff that I do, please give the video a like. Alright, so I'm just going to scrub this in now. Just really push the paint into the fabric because there's a little bit of oil on the brush. It should be nice and easy. Okay, we don't know where it's going to go up there. We've got a bit of foliage there and we might have a couple of little spots in the background here and there and there and here, wherever we might want to. And we might paint a little bit of something in if we don't like, so we cover it in a darker colour, we can always cover this up. And of course, because it's got the yellow in, it'll make a nice greeny colour. Okay, my thoughts in my head are that we're going to have some sun rays coming through this, so we'll have another gap in the woods just there. Okay, we'll get the bulk of this in just like that. We're going to have some sun rays coming through the trees, a little bit of shadow work down there like that. Okay, just push that in like so. I dropped a little bit of a boo-boo, folks. I painted some of the skyy colour over the tree trunk over here, but don't worry about that, we can fix that later on. Right, all we're going to do, I'm going to take some of this light green into that colour, a bit more of the yellows. It's time to make up a massive pile of mess, really. And let's add a tiny bit of the blue into that, just a tiny bit. So we've got a greeny colour, maybe even get a bit of the brown into there as well. Just really get some of this on. We want some foliage kind of things up here, but we're going to vary the things, the colour as we go along. But we really want to really plough some of this in, okay, because we're going to have a lot of foliage up here. Background foliage and all sorts. So we're going to have a tree that comes down there as well. So we're just going to smash this in. This might take a few minutes, but I'm going to change the colour a little bit every now and again. Add a bit of different colour, so I'd add a bit of black onto that as well. But I'm really going to plough this in. Yeah, you might get away with doing it with a bit of a bigger brush. In fact, we might just do that. Let's grab a big brush. Okay, let's get crazy here. All right, so let's take some of those colours, yellows, bit of black in there, not too much black, Dan. Okay, so really smash that in. Again, this is a dry canvas. Oh, that's a lot quicker. That's a lot quicker, Dan. Okay, we don't need to mess about now. And really hit this. Now this is where a good easel comes into play. Now this easel that I use, this basically was my child's easel. Okay, the little tiny easel that my child had, my daughter had, and then I just, when she outgrown it, I'd taken it over, and instead of scrapping it, I thought, I can use that, and basically put some big old bolts in it and got it to the wall, and did some other things to it to make it so sturdy that it can hold these big old canvases. Oh, look at that. Bit too much paint there. Get a bit too much paint, just like that. Scrape it off, no problemo. No problemo. Let's just wipe that off on the brush. That happens sometimes, but there we go. We can work with anything, yeah? We're artists. Okay, we create from in here, so we can work on anything. That's one of the problems, I suppose, having a big brush, tiny palette. Big brush, tiny palette. All right, so let's just fill this in. I actually like that brown. It gives a little bit of something up there. There we go, just dabbing a bit of dark there. Look at that. All those kinds of foliage colours. Now, I've left intentionally blank where the major trees are going to be, but I don't know where all the trees are going to be. So, with all this oil on this, we're going to have to get some of that off. Now, this is wet on wet painting, so that's wet paint, and we're going to put more wet paint on top of it. But we need to dry a lot of that oil out. So let's take an old, well, it's not old, brand new. These are tissues that you use to dry your hands with. Okay, or something along those lines. I'm just going to scrunch this up, and I'm just going to dab and hit and dab and hit. Okay, and change it every now and again. And we're just going to get most of that oil off. Look at all that oil. Put some down there. Look at all that coming off your painting. Okay, then the next layer will stick nice and easy. Okay, so sounds like the helicopters are out tonight, folks. So I'm just going to do all this. Back with you in a second. Don't know if you can see actually this on camera, but what I've actually done is just scraped in through the oil paint just some distant branches and tree trunks and things like that. Now, let's get some trees actually painted on there. So let's take a brush. Let's just use whatever brush we've got. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of the burnt umber, just a little bit. Let's grab some white. Grab some white. We want these far away, so they're going to be paler than what they are when they're nearer to us. Okay, a little bit of sienna as well, thrown in that, just for good measure. Okay, plenty of paint on the brush. Okay, and we'll start off. Let's start off about here. So we're just going to come down there. Okay, like so. And it fills that little void on the canvas up just there, like that. Okay, same again. And we'll just do that a couple more times. And I'm just using the side of this flat brush. Just through the greens and down there. We're going to have some land where these trees are sat on, so don't worry too much about it. And we'll put another one in there. A bit more pressure as we come down to the bottom, like so. Keep going. There's light spots there that's going to blaze through this tree especially and hit these bigger trees at this side. So this is just backgroundy stuff. I think there's going to be a lot of foliage on top of this. Might even put a branch on that there, make it a bit stronger. So like that. Plenty of paint. Don't be stingy on paint. Just going to tad a dark down the backs of some of these. Remember, that's the light source, so some of these might get lit up. So a little bit of shadow on the backside of some of these trees. Now let's get a little bit more of the browns. Burnt umber, burnt sienna. I'm going to get black in there as well. Okay, let's lay out as major trees before we get carried away with the little trees. Okay, so we're going to have one that starts there, comes all the way down there, like so. Okay, and he wants a backside, so excuse the arm, about there. I'll take a step back in a moment anyway, and worry about the edges just yet. So a bit more colour. Need plenty of colour, especially in the dry parts of the canvas. We'll start this one. I think it goes up there like so, comes down like so, and it's there. And it's up there like that. Oh no, over that tree. That's all right. Oh, I liked that one. I want to just fill these in, so let's just get some colour down. Get some colour down. That's the main thing. So I've got all the major colours in, and I'm just working on some shadow sides of these trees. Just put in a bit of darker colour, a bit of darker brown, black even. Eventually we will put a bit of light blue on the shadow side. It's a little bit of reflected light. Okay, now don't worry that we haven't got anything down to hold these trees up. We will have eventually. We will have. Certainly will have, because we don't want falling over. A little bit there, a bit there. Maybe there's a little bit of shadow comes across that tree there, like that. Just work on some of these stuff, because there's going to be lots of shadows coming from all the branches and all the foliage as well. But I just want to get some of the main components in before we start working on anything detailed and fancy and finicky. This is just painting with a nice flat brush and put some colour down. Nice wobbly tree, that. Right, let's sneak some stuff in here, some little bluebells and things like that before we get too carried away. Getting carried away all the time. So a little bit of French ultramarine, a little bit of the purple with a funny name, and a fair bit of white. Okay, this is a soft brush. I usually use this for blending, but I'm just going to tap on and just throw in around here, around these tree feet, a lot of little bluebelly things just down here, like that. And if I go over the tree trunks, don't worry about it, because we can always paint the trees back in. We're not fully finished with those just yet, but I just want a lot of little bluebells just out here. We're going to have a path down here, and some other bits and pieces in there as well. So we want a few bits and pieces of bluebells out here, very faint, hardly touch the canvas there. Just a little bit of colour right in the background, so you can just pick it out. We'll get stronger as we come towards us. Bluebells are one of the most fascinating things in the woodland walk. You know, when they come out, springtime has really sprung. Okay, we'll pop some back here as well. I don't want them to become flat, so we're going to vary the colours a little bit. So maybe even every now and again, just get a little bit of the phthalo blue, and that'll act as like a little shadowy colour in the bluebells. So I get that it still looks a little bit flat, this painting, but it won't. Trust me, it won't. All I'm doing is, because we've still got foliage to put on here, this is just the first layer of bluebells that we've put in there, just tinkering around the trees. Vary the colours as well. And I'm just taking some woodland grassy colours that are down here, like that. We're going to have a path that comes round there somewhere, like so. So we'll have to bear that in mind. But let's get some of these greens on the go. Down there. Put a little bit of blue in it in places as well, just to really shady it up, darken it up. Work around your trees. And again, I said this many times in this video, we haven't finished with the trees, not by a long chalk yet, so don't worry about it just yet. But we're just throwing in some grass colours in. We're going to have some more bluebells as well, so we'll just put these in, and then we can get some paint over the top with some of the bluebells. Like that. Both sides, scrub lots of it in. There's going to be lots of stuff down here. Before we get too carried away with all the greenery down here, I'm just going to add a bit of darkness into the grasses and stuff down here, because there's going to be a lot of shadow work, obviously cast from all the stuff up there, you know, the foliage upstairs, up in the treetops. So we'll put a little bit of grassiness down here at some point, but we also want to make the floor, the leaf litter down below pretty dark as well. So on top of that green, and allow them to merge together. I've wiped it with a towel anyway, a blue paper towel, and it'll give a little bit more of a key for the black to stick onto. So this is just straight ivory black, And of course it'll mix with that green and the browns and all other colours that are on there, and it'll give a nice shadowy effect. Then we can put foliage on top if we so wish, which we will do because we're going to have lots of bluebells, but we want them to really stand out and pop. Without even cleaning the brush, I'm just going to pick up some yellow, and on that little hump I said, we're just going to put in a little bit of something there, a little bit of a sparkler right there, like that. Now we can start to manipulate some of this undergrowth and push in a little bit of the bluebells. Okay, let's add some bluebells down here. So same as before, ultramarine and a bit of the purple mixed in with a white. Just mix it on the brush, splay the bristles apart, and then just tap into a little bit of white. Okay, now we haven't finished the trees yet, so we're going to paint a little behind the tree. So we'll just touch on there and work his way around. Okay, nice and gently does it, nice and gently. Splay the brush so we get lots of different little tiny flowery effects out here in the woods. There we go. I'm just going to add a bit more of the blue, I think, just to darken it off on the underside. There, like that. Work it down like so. And we'll work around the tree. Before we get too carried away with it, I mean, it's like it's all creeping forward and we've got to do lots of different things all at different times. It's a bit crazy like that, is this picture. But I'm just going to put a little bit of bark on some of these trees. So with a palette knife, I'm just going to pull that down. Now, I might change to a brush, but I do like the thick texture that the old palette knife gives. Now, I'm not too fussed about right up at the very top of the painting, but just down this side, just a gentle little touch here and there. Leave a few spaces because there's going to be some shadows cast by the foliage above, and we'll just put a little bit of something down like that. Progressively get darker with your paint into the center of the tree like so. And then what we can do is when we're ready, we can put a nice little touch of white right on that side and a little bit of light blue on the opposing side. I honestly need a bigger palette. Right, so I've taken a little bit of blue and white and a little bit of the mucky colour that we've got. Let's just paint a little bit of reflected shadow. So a little bit of paint, and I'm just going to put the heel of the knife on, and I'm just going to push up and follow the contour of the tree, just like that. A little bit of blue, cool blue there. Maybe put a few little streaks here and there. So we've got a light side and a shadow side, but you'll see the whole rounded tree, so put a little bit of light on there as well, bouncing back perhaps. Okay, let's do that again on this one. Maybe it comes up there like so. Leave a bit there. All right, let's just tap away some of that excess oil down here, down at the foot of this big old major tree right in the foreground. Look at all that's come off. And let's take our dagger brush and some of that purpley bluey whitey colour that we've got on the go, and I'm just going to put a start there, you see. I don't know if I want that there though, but I'm just going to, we'll hit one there, okay, and just hit on and create all these little tiny bluebelly kind of flowers. Okay, turn the brush around, give it a bit of another dimension, and just work on these. We're going to go over this tree trunk like that. Lots of little flowers like that. Vary the colours as well, because remember, some are going to be in shade and some are not, so just vary the colours. I find this dagger brush quite useful, really, so we'll probably wipe it clean once I've painted all this out and put the foliage in down below. Right, look at the state of the hands. The hands of an artist. Yeah, look at that. That blue gets everywhere. I've just wiped out any excess paint out of the brush anyway, and I done different colours, shadowy, bluey colours to the warmer, purpley colours at this side. Anyway, I've just picked up some yellows and greens and stuff like that. And where are we? We're here, right down in the bottom corner. We're going to put on some big, down here, some big leaves like so. Just like that. Just pull them out. Any old out like that. Big leaves down here. I think they've got nice little stalks on them, so we'll worry about the stalks in a bit, but could even scratch them in with a knife. But big leaves down here, like so. We'll fill up this area with these big leaves. Vary the colours as we go along as well. The easiest way to paint a straight stem is probably scrape it in with the point of the knife, or grab some greens and blacks and stuff like that and just paint one in like so. A few bits and pieces down in there. All right, let's work on some of the foliage up at the top. Now I've taken some black and some yellow ochre and just roughly mixed them, and I'm just going to use this very soft blendery brush just to tap into the palette just like that, and then I'm just going to gently stipple on some leaves. Now you may wonder why there are no branches as such up here, and that's because I'll have to thin the paint down and paint the branches in. I'm just stippling on some leafy effects. I'll change the brush in a while just to give a variant of the different brush strokes really. I just want some dark colours up here. Go over some of the trees or all of the trees if you want. Change the flavour of the paint as well. I might come down there in front of that one. Yeah, I'll have to thin the paint down to paint some twigs and branches and stuff, and I don't want to be stippling on like this if I'm going to paint over those thin branches, because we'll just end up making a lot of mess and mud and muck and all that lot. It'll not look nice. We want it to look nice, don't we? Yeah, it don't take much time to stipple that lot on. Right, I'm just going to hit some yellows, just cad yellow, into that. And then I'm just going to pick off a few where some are just going to shine a little bit brighter than others. Just there like that. Okay, still got a lot of black on the brush. And the more you tap this, the more it'll go away and make a mud. So be very sparse with it. And pick out some highlights of where some of these green leaves are going to live. I want a lot in silhouette, but I just want a little bit of colour every now and again. Maybe over the top of this tree. Yeah, like that there. And it comes down maybe like so. And then we can start, once we've got all these in place, start thinking about twigs. Maybe a bit up there. Like that. I'm just adding some dots and dashes of various greens out here for individual leaves, just like that. Of course, I went into the bright yellows there because that's where the sun's going to hit, but you don't want brightness right up at the top of the canopy. Well, it's not at the top of the canopy. The leaves above this, which we can't see, will be casting bits of shadows down here, so we'll take that into consideration. There, like so. Right, let's take a little bit of yellow ochre, a touch of red, and a fair bit of white. I'm going to sneak in a mushroom just down here. And there is some oil on that as well. In fact, we'll put a couple in. Just there, like so. That's the stem of the mushroom. Or two mushrooms. Pick up a bit more red, and we'll put a little cap on it. Well, we'll do the nice traditional mushroom, toadstool, whatever it is. like that. And then there's another one there. Let's see if we can get some little white dots on top of this. Like so. Neaten the feet up. So I've left this till last, and the reason why I put the trees in first and painted roughly around them is that I want a beam of light coming straight through the woods. So this is a tiny bit of titanium white, only a tiny bit, on the fan brush. Pick up any excess paint, just knock it off. Just there, like, before we go through there, we want to take it off there, like so. Just smooth that out. There. Very delicately just tease this light stream into the painting. Now, usually you'd have to wait for it to dry, but if you apply the paint on thinly, and I mean a thin layer, not thin as in ink thin, then after a few hours you should be able to get away with it if you're delicate enough. And I think with that we have got a nice finished painting of Bluebell Woods. Well, actually this is a gift for my mother, and if you're watching, Mum, love you. If you've liked this one, folks, give it a go. Share with us some of your paintings. I'd love to see what you guys are doing. Like the video, comment, and subscribe if you've not done so already. So until next time, take care of the sun, stay safe, happy days. I see the